yet, and hopefully you guys appreciate it. Normally when you see me driving in the car, it's to go door knocking because I don't have any leads and I'm trying to find more, right? I'm trying to find deals. Well, I'm driving on my way to a property to make an offer. So this one's gonna be a little bit different, right? Here, let me just wanna make sure you guys can hear me. Feel free, anybody, give me a thumbs up. So here's the deal, you guys. This is a property in a location that I'm very familiar with. In fact, it's about 2 minutes walking distance from my first property that I ever bought. So when I reached out to them and said, hey, are you interested in an offer, like I do 1,000 times a day, and they said, yeah, we'd be willing to hear an offer. I looked at the address, pulled it up while I was talking to them, and I was like, whoa, you guys aren't going to believe this. I've walked by your house hundreds of times, thousands of times, because my home here on Blank Street is literally the next street over. I've walked by you guys so many times. It's crazy. So I built rapport. I connected with them. I said, man, the first house I ever bought, you know, when I went from renter to homeowner, I bought a house right there in Milwaukee, Oregon, with an IE, not an EE like Wisconsin. Anyways, you guys, so what did I do in preparation? This is why I'm making this video. So what did I do in preparation? So obviously I set the appointment. I didn't get super excited. I just said, okay, sounds good. You know, I don't know if we have a deal yet, but I'm looking for one. Looks like you guys are willing to sell. Let's see if we can make something work. And of course, built rapport, you know, and actually crazy enough, like I started talking to them early December. So here it is, January 3rd, we finally got the appointment. So first and foremost, she wanted her brother to be there, and her brother, you know, has gone through some like kidney issues or something, dialysis or something like that. So like he wanted to be there. So I was like, oh yeah, of course, you know, like make sure your brother's doing okay, feeling better, you know, all that stuff. You know, you can't really, you know, press these people. Oh, I'm making an offer today, and if I can't see it, I'm gonna move on to the next one. You don't do that to these type of leads, right? So it's very important to build rapport with people, be understanding. Like anyways, I just followed up with them, you know, every few days. Hey, how's your brother's feeling? You know, we went through the holidays, the New Year, everything like that. Wish them, you know, happy holidays, happy New Year. And finally, just a message out of the blue, right? Wasn't even prompted by me. She said, hey, can you meet tomorrow at 2? I said, absolutely. Immediately responded to that. Absolutely, sounds good. I'll be there. And you just move your schedule around, right? Any chance you can get in front of a homeowner or an interested seller, you move your schedule around. It doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter what you're doing. Don't care if you got a hot date. You know, we make so many of these phone calls. We make so many door knocks. We send so many text messages. We send so many emails. Whatever it is, you know, you pay so much in advertising to get to this point, right? To get to this point where it's like, hey, I'm in front of a homeowner, right? I'm ready. They're wanting to hear an offer, and I want to get a deal. So let's see if we can make something work. So first and foremost, after I got off the phone, I started looking up comps for the property, right? Because I wanted to figure out, okay, let's say we flip this property. What is the best case scenario? The sellers, and say, you know, if they ask or they wonder where I got my numbers from or why is my offer what it is, I say, okay, well, I think on the best day with these current interest rates, based off of these comparable properties that are very close to the, you know, in this area, this property sells for maybe $550, right? Maybe. And that's best case scenario. So I'm going to want to back out, you know, a margin of error, right? So maybe instead of 35, just in case, right? And then I back out all of the costs associated with doing a deal, right? And these are hard costs that every investor has. They typically, 99% of the time, just because people say they're making cash offers, it's not their cash. It's someone's cash, but it's not their cash. So typically you have, and even if it was their cash, they have opportunity costs. Now they got all this money tied up in one deal. So opportunity costs, you have capital costs, you have points that you have to pay hard money lenders or private money lenders. You have interest that you have to pay on that money. You have prorated taxes, prorated insurance from when you bought the property to when you sell it. You obviously need to make some money, right? So you have that in there. And then you have your selling costs, right? You have your buying and closing costs, right? So if you buy the property, you have one set of closing, right? So you have to pay one set of closing costs. Then you go to sell the property a couple months later, then you have another set of closings, right? So you have two closing costs, you have one hard money cost, you have potentially two, but maybe just one set of realtor costs, right? Typically, off-market deals, there's not a realtor involved. Sometimes there is, but not always. Most often not. And what you do is you negotiate with them directly, find a deal that works out for everybody, take it to a title company, close the transaction, start working on the property. So that's the next thing that happens, right? After you pay the closing costs and titles and fees and all that stuff, then you have to start doing renovations. So you have labor and materials, and then you have your insurance and taxes while you're holding the property. And then of course hard money costs, interest, all the way up until the point where you sell the property. And then depending on your realtor, you might have to pay for a photographer, you might have to pay for the 3D virtual tour, the marketing materials, right? Some agents include that, some agents don't. Some agents include it for a higher commission cost, right? So then you got to pay your agent as the seller. You got to pay for your agent. And still typically, and I know this rule changed thanks to NAR, but typically the buyer's still going to ask you to pay for their agent. I know that rule just changed, and maybe it's different in your guys' area. This is Portland, Oregon. I'm not a licensed real estate agent, not a broker. I'm not an attorney, so don't quote me on that, but that's my understanding. And then when people are making offers, they typically say, okay, our offer is contingent on an inspection, contingent on, it appraising, and contingent on, you agreeing to pay the 2.5% to our agent or whatever it is, right? 2%. So, and buyers agents are very cognizant of that, right? That's how they get paid. So they are telling their clients, for me to represent you, I need to get paid from you or I need to get paid from them. So how do you want to make this offer? Typically the buyers are going to ask you, the seller, to pay. And you can always say no, but probably not going to get the deal done. So anyways, you guys, I'm heading to a property right now to make an offer with all of those things in mind. Those are all super consistent, fees that we have, that when you're doing flips, when you're an investor, you have all of those costs. So I have to take that into consideration when I make my offer. And typically people ask that. They say, hey, why is the offer what it is? And be honest, be transparent. Like, I expect to make some money, right? I'm not a charity. I'm not managing contractors. I'm not doing all of this work out of the kindness of my heart as much as I would love to. I have a family to feed or whatever, right? I have, dogs at home that need kibble. So whatever it is, right? Just try to resonate with them and say, hey, you guys, I very much care about you. I understand your situation. I want to do a win-win. And for this to be a win-win, you guys need to get, X amount of dollars. I totally understand that. For this to be a win on my end, for me to do the deal, I need to make, some profit here. So here's my cost of money. Here's what I think the rehab will be. And I think I can do it cheaper than anyone else because I have contractors that I work with. I have people that are going to give me really good deals. I can reuse materials from other jobs, right? I have extra tile laying around. Heck, I'm me personally, I'm kind of handy. I might even come in here and help, right? Just to get the job done faster and a little bit cheaper. So I'm really, cutting in. And for doing all that, I need to make, and for the risk, I need to make $20, $30, $40, $50,000 or more, right? And tell them, like, hey, if I'm spending $300,000 to buy your property, and then I'm spending another $100,000 to fix it up, I'm risking $400,000. I want to make $75,000 worth of profit. And that may not be okay with you. And that's understandable. But any other investor is going to want to be in that profit range, right? That's a lot of risk. And we want to be rewarded for taking that risk. And if you don't like it, put it on market and, wait. You may get an offer, you may not, it may be contingent, they may ask you to fix stuff, whatever, right? So all of those things come into play when you're dealing with on market. And us, as a cash as is offer, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. The deal will be done, we'll close faster. We don't necessarily, check with your hard money lender. We may not need an appraisal right now, and it will appraise because I'm getting it for and don't tell them this, but I'm getting it for such a discount that, you know, it will appraise, and if it doesn't, I have a problem, right? Comping. But you just back all that stuff out, right? Here's the cost to repair. Here's the cost of me making money. Here's the cost of, you know, my money, my selling cost, all these things that any other investor is gonna have. And as long as you make a fair and reasonable offer, explain everything to them, and you don't have to do this right now in the living room, right? Like, I'm gonna go there, walk around. You know, if they've kind of given me a price and I think we're close, I might just try to do the deal right then and there. Always carry a contract with you. Maybe not bring it in, but say, hey, I have it in my car. Let's just write this thing up. But, you know, if you think you're going to be far apart, give them some time. Say like, hey, I think I'm going to be around here, you know, or my partner wants to buy it around here. You know, I think that's a little low, but I understand where he's coming from. What do you guys think? You know, and they're going to say, oh no, that's too low for us. And I'm like, yeah, my partner's always trying to get a deal. You know, I understand. And I agree with you guys. Well, where do you really need to be? And then, you know, just try to come in the middle wherever you can. You know, sometimes you, instead of making 75K, you might only make 50K. And then you, as the investor, have to decide, hey, is that worth it for me to do that deal? And it may or may not be. And then you just have to tell them, like, hey, you know, I can't do that. You know, as much as I really want to, as much as I'm looking for a deal, as much as I have contractors that have families that are, you know, need another project, I can't, right? You know, I can't do this and lose money. I got people to pay. So anyways, just want to make that little live for you guys, just to kind of explain what happens and what goes through my mind as I'm getting, you know, prepared to meet with people. So something for you guys to think about. If you guys have any deals, if you have any questions about structuring, about comping, about, you know, what does it cost to do all new vinyl windows, to do flooring, to do a roof, depends largely on your market, largely on the type of contractor you can get. If you call the first person at the top of Google with the 5,000 5-star reviews, they're going to charge you the most. Sometimes you have to find people that are just getting into business, that have department, right? You know, feel free to ask any questions, and wish me luck.